So I'm gonna start off this video with the fact that the M Factor isn't the only project idea I got going on, and to say that this one would be the last would be a lie. Artist ADHD is both a blessing and a curse, and just to let you guys know, I'm currently working on a lore update video for the M Factor. It's a work in progress. I have so much left to draw for that, oh my god. Let's take a few steps down memory lane. The year was 2023, and I was slowly dying in my last year of high school and was having an existential crisis on what I wanted to do with my life. I still have that, by the way. And at some point, I also honestly lost a bit of steam for the M Factor, whose name was an entirely different thing at the same time, but I'm not gonna disclose that here because it's not the main focus and I'm gonna die of cringe. And around that time, I was really into reading Twisted Wonderland works and fanfics, and I still am. I was also weirdly into the X-Men movies and series, Harry Potter, Castlevania, as well as the MCU Doctor Strange movies, and I don't know how or why it happened, but something clicked in my head. I thought to myself, I want to try making something with magic. I've seen a bunch of anime magic series where magic is considered very special and valued, so I thought to myself, what if they pulled an X-Men and made it the opposite? With that, I introduce you guys to the Magic of Madness. I don't know why it took me so long to think of a title, but here we are. Magic of Madness is an urban fantasy series I thought of in senior high, and I didn't really do much with it up until months after coming up with it. I later based this off other series like RWBY, JoJo, Dungeon Meshi, and even Cookie Run Kingdom of all things, so this should be weird and fun. Now, I'm not really that great at fantasy world building, but this is what I came up with. Many years ago, humans lived in a world where they were born with magic given to them by the gods. However, at some point, the humans began abusing this gift to not only use it for war, corruption, and conquest, but they would even use it to try and fight the gods they used to respect and worship. Seeing their own gifts being used against them, the gods ended up destroying all of humanity, pretty much like the dinosaurs, as a way to reset the world. Eventually, centuries later, they were reborn, but this time without the magic they were blessed with, or so they thought. The gods left the world, feeling dissatisfied with the way humanity had gone, but little did they know, as they left, they would leave even a bigger impact on the world than they did before. On top of the humans being reborn, a few more races were brought into the world. Aside from humans, more species included were beastmen, fairies, dragons, the undead, elves, gnomes, kobolds, halflings, and even ogres. With the amount of races there are, I had this thought of making my main cast, except for the 4 of them, change every now and then if they were to be based in arcs like JoJo. While it's partially because of the amount of races I have in the story, it's also because I still have the rest of the characters being figured out. Because all these races appeared around the same time, they are pretty much considered the norm in modern society. Though there are still some cases of classism and racism amongst them, but they all would be considered the same in terms of stuff like citizenship or ethnicities. Now, around the late Middle Ages, despite what the gods intended, magic would slowly find its way back into the world, however by only 20 to 30%. But even so, those people would still get the worst treatment by the rest of society for it. They'd still be either casted out or discriminated against by others, and some would even be abandoned or disowned by their families. There are often 2 groups in the society, those who hate on others and those who do nothing but let it happen. Despite this, there is always a secret 3rd group, one that would always be there to make things change for the better. Eventually, people would go to make schools for those who want to improve or control their magic, and in the story, one of those is Sanctum Academy. Sanctum Academy is one of the well-known magic schools in the world. It was founded by the Hargreaves family, and it would then become not only a school for mages, but a home for those that don't belong. Honestly, the whole thing is still a work in progress, but I might go more about the world, Sanctum, and all the different races another day. For now, let's talk about the main characters, specifically my main 4. Up first is Xavier. When I first thought of him, I wanted to make him different from my other protagonist, Charlotte, at least when it comes to personality. Xavier is more reserved, but is also someone with a lot of pride in his intelligence, being a child prodigy of a well-off family. He is, however, surprisingly open-minded despite his pride and ego. He's willing to try new things, and he will always listen to what other people have to say, even if he will sometimes make comments about them. He knows what he wants, and he isn't afraid to go after it, even if it means manipulating the situation to better benefit his needs. Despite always excelling though, Xavier had some nihilistic views and thoughts towards himself and the world, and even showed to be lost as he didn't really know what he wanted to do with his life. And he couldn't even be confident to say he was happy with himself until becoming a part of magic, and it's why he enrolled in Sanctum, where not only did he feel a challenge in his education, but also felt that he can learn something without the thought of anything bad happening if he didn't. He's the type who would always excel not because he craves success, but because he's scared of failing. Xavier could also be somewhat of a rebellious type, as well as being pretty determined and stubborn when he puts his mind to something. He's pretty blunt and would often say things that may sound insensitive or morally questionable. This extends towards his own parents, whom he kinda has complicated feelings towards as they got divorced because both of them had affairs. And to make things more awkward, both affairs were revealed during his older sister Liz's rehearsal dinner. And yet, despite all that, he couldn't really bring himself to hate them at all. In the end, Xavier is someone who, if he lets someone in, he'll love and care for them unconditionally and would do anything for them. Though, needless to say, he can have a cocky attitude when dealing with people and things with his inquisitiveness and willingness to break rules, which makes him a bit of an odd one at the academy and constantly an annoyance to many of his peers. Xavier has this tendency to psychoanalyze people and point out things that they don't want to hear, even if they need it. He's definitely the type to say something that'll get himself punched, but most of the time it'd be the truth nonetheless. Next up, we have Raquel. Originally, she was human in the first drafts I made of her, including this drawing, but I eventually decided to make her an elf instead when working on the world building. Character-wise, Raquel is considered to be strong-headed and does not take any belittlement or disrespect from others. Most of the time, she's snarky, but is almost always able to keep a calm demeanor. Almost. She was initially suicidal due to the trauma of being a child soldier when she was younger, up until she was adopted by a human couple, the Wilsons. Despite that, she still tends to be a bit smug, sometimes bragging about being an quote-unquote army brat. I had to look up what elf years would be equal to in elf years, and from one site I used, she'd be around 170 years old, but would still be the elf equivalent of a teenager. It's basically not calling her old, but also calling her old. Another thing about Raquel is that she and Xavier are dating, well, eventually. They met when Xavier was still relatively new to Sanctum, and Raquel was requested to help him. I heavily based off their dynamic from Tony and Pepper in the MCU. I just really liked how done she was with him most of the time. Although Raquel would be one of the defining points of Xavier's development and maturity, the relationship between them tends to struggle, as there are times where his stubbornness and slight trust issues irritates and occasionally drives her away. But regardless, the two are very close to each other. Raquel would try to help him with things whether he knew or needed it, and Xavier appreciated her dedication and how long she would put up with him compared to other people he knew. Though she would still throw a barbed remark and humble him every now and then. Raquel is essentially the leader of this little team they've got going on and would eventually be dubbed the mom of the group. And so much so, she's desensitized when people jokingly call her mom. Next, we have Myra, cat beastman, and one of Xavier's roommates. Like Raquel, he was also initially a human, but I wanted my main four to be somewhat more diverse. And honestly, he gave off cat vibes to me, so I made him a cat boy. Despite being a cat, he's definitely the golden retriever of the group. He's a cheerful person who often brightens up the atmosphere. His speech and actions are easygoing and casual, and he's easy to talk to and hold a conversation with. He is able to get along with a variety of people, though there are those who may consider him eccentric, aloof, or even annoying. Now, if you know me, I like me a boy failure or a girl failure in a character. Myra can be a bit clumsy at times. How clumsy, you ask? Think Phil Lester, aka the guy that sat on his own glasses and swallowed super glue trying to fix said glasses. Yeah, that's him. He'd sometimes tell jokes, though most of which are only funny to himself. He usually does this to cover up fear and anxiety. And while he's often optimistic, Myra's actually very prone to panicking very quickly, meaning he can be kinda high-strung too. He also has a habit of talking, shouting, or screaming very loudly, though it's usually when he gets scared or freaked out. He was actually somewhat inspired by Enid from Wednesday, and I don't even know if I tried to hide that as much. And she technically has been a cat too, but making Myra a cat was entirely unintentional and unrelated to that. Anyways, when he first awakened to his magic, his parents were kinda hesitant about it, but he was encouraged by his younger sister Mari to join Sanctum to learn more about both his magic and himself. He and Mari actually get along very well, but she does consistently pay her to kill a spider for him. And finally, we have Billy. Billy comes from a big family of respected mages, and despite being loved and cared for by his family, Billy still felt lonely deep down inside. Before gaining magic, Billy had already felt bullied and isolated from his peers back then for being gay, with his mom having been his only source of solace, as his dad died when he was pretty young. And soon after gaining magic, the bullying got eventually worse. Prior to meeting the others, Billy had then isolated himself with media rather than social interaction, and he felt one bad day away from being agoraphobic, which he now treats as a joke and makes fun of himself for. And despite all that he went through, Billy is still an overall laid-back but kind guy whose sense of humor is often deadpan, sarcastic, or ironic, and he frequently references memes in a similar way. There are even times where he would humorously make depressing comments. Honestly, when writing his personality, I was like, holy crap, did I just make a Dan Howell? I'm really pilled about those two. I don't know if I used that word right, but you know what I mean. Though needless to say, he can't be someone you do not want to make mad. Billy can be shown to be pretty awkward too, and he's very terrible at making women-related metaphors. Cue that one scene from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
You're my friend and I won't let you down. I'm gonna push you up, just like a bro.
What?
Nah, I meant like a brassiere, which is totally different.
Come on, man.
Not better. Here we go.
I had this one running gag in mind where if he accidentally does something wrong, people, including himself, would just go, "Damn it, Billy." And I don't know why, but sometimes I feel like I like to imagine his scream to be like Finn from Adventure Time. You guys know the one.
Finn! Finn!
Billy is a literal work in progress, and someday he'll find peace with himself, whether he'll realize that or not, and these guys will be there to help him through it. And that's where I'm gonna end the lore dump for now. I'm still trying to work on the whole world and the rest of the characters I got going on, but needless to say, I'm pretty excited about Magic of Madness as I am with the M Factor. These guys are taking over my brain, I swear. I've been really busy with drawing lately because of Art Fight, and I'm excited to tell you guys how that went too. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and feel free to tell me what you think in the comments. I'll see you guys around in the next one. Bye!